Okay, y'all, I'm back, and I'm just going to try to keep this video short so that it uploads. I've tried to do it before, and it's not uploading. Well, anyway, I think I left you guys off with the part that Officer Knapp told me to get out of the state, and I told you guys to see 570 and 571 in the playlist videos. That happened on March 1st and March 2nd. If you hear in video, I think it's 570, you hear us say, ask for the keys back. And you hear the police say, well, that's a civil matter. And we asked, well, why did the police officers come the night before and take the keys? Now, it plays into the story that he tells in the divorce um, filing report, which is what I got. I never got a summons to court for the divorce, but I did get a copy that he filed for divorce. I got his filing report. So now the police in 570 video 570, we tell them that INS told us to tell them about the marriage fraud. You hear what the officer says. And then we ask for the keys back, and you hear the officer tell us that that's a civil issue, and they don't know why the police officers came and asked for the keys back. But I know, I'm going to tell you guys why the police came and asked for the keys back from us, leaving us stranded there in a dangerous situation, and giving them the Shalish Tanna. It's because I know now, and I didn't know then. It's because they were helping him concoct a story that is in the filing report. So now, I leave, and I am in a domestic violence center in Syracuse, New York. I am in contact with Shalish Tanna, which is against the shelter's rules. I talked to Shalish Tanna, me and him talk. He did not know that I left until the 10th. I want to say the 7th is when I told him that I was actually gone from the house. We were talking. And we were talking about how everything was wrong, how his behavior is so different, how I think that he needs help. We agreed that he would do counseling. We agreed that he would give me temporary custody of the children. And we agreed that he would give me a vehicle because I had sold my vehicle in order to pay off the fine of the disorderly conduct. So now he meets me in Syracuse at a meeting spot. He pulls up in a black SUV or black type of minivan. And so he pulls up to me, and out the driver's side window, there's a crack about this much. He hands these paperwork out the window like this. I grab the paperwork. He laughs and pulls off. Now, it was two papers. It was the divorce filing report, and then the shelter person wrote divorce up here so we can keep them separated. And there was a custody issue thing going on that he filed. So now I'm going to read out this divorce. Now, mind you, the dates of those videos of 570 and 571 in my playlist. So now, this is what the filing report says. This is just a filing report. It had no summons, and that's what I got. So it says, come now, the plaintiff Shalish J. Tanna, in the above styled cause, and would complain of the defendant Shareen Tanna as follows. Number 1, the plaintiff is over the age of 19 years of age and is a bona fide resident citizen of Elmore County, Alabama, and has been a resident of the state of Alabama for more than 6 months next proceeding of filing this complaint. Now, that was wrong. I had just moved from New York. I had just came from New York, and I was held on bail for over 6 months for the disorderly conduct. Now, when I was arrested, they made sure they put in my paperwork that I was from New York, so I didn't get bailed out. Lo and behold, a very nice bail bondsman bailed me out. It says in number 2, it's a repeat of the same thing. I think they made a clerical error, so I'm not going to reread it. But number 2 is the repeat of the same thing, saying that I was a bona fide resident of Alabama for 6 months, which is not true. I was held on bail for over 6 months, awaiting court. And I was deemed not a resident of Alabama when I was arrested. They said I was a resident of New York, and therefore it was very, very hard to get me bailed out. By the grace of God, I was able to be bailed out. It says number 3, the plaintiff is is the lawful husband of the defendant, the parties having been married on April 11th of 2006 in the country of India. For immigration purposes, the party were married twice. As such, plaintiff is uncertain which date is on the certificate of marriage, but is requesting an official copy for the purpose of this petition. Now, he didn't have the marriage certificates when he filed for divorce or anything like that. He's guessing at the date. The date is wrong. We were married in November, and it was actually November 11th of 2006. And yes, we were married twice for immigration purposes. The second time was so that the Hindu Marriage Act was enacted, so that I had a prenuptial agreement for immigration purposes, in which the judge is denying me access to. Mind you, we were both married. We were married in India, and it says that he is a lawful husband. Well, I found out that he has another wife in India, so the marriage was not a bona fide marriage in the first place, and I've been trying to press charges against it ever since I found out, but no one will let me file the charges against a document or something that happened in India. So now I'm being held criminal on not adhering to something that they can't prosecute against. And that is very confusing to me, very, very confusing to me, so I don't understand. If it can't be prosecuted against, why am I being held criminal against not adhering to a divorce off of the same documentation? All right. Number 4. The plaintiff resides at 421 Oak Tree Road Loop, Millbrook, Alabama 36054, and the defendant resided at the same address until March 4th of 2016. The defendant was believed to be staying at South Union Street area in Montgomery, Alabama. Now, they pinged my cell phone. Like I had told you guys in the story before, the nice officer of Montgomery told me that my black ass should not have been out there in Millbrook, Alabama. We don't go out there. And he helped me get into a hotel room. I turned my phone on in the hotel room, and that's where they pinged me to that area before I got on the bus. Remember, I went to the bus stop with Ashton's friend. The bus was full, so I had to wait till the next day. There are three minor children issue of the marriage, namely Sainath Tanna, Malia Tanna, and Shivani Tanna. They always forget that the two boys actually grew up in the home. They haven't been able to be heard or listened to, and they have experienced abuse. Later on today, I will be posting their videos, or either tomorrow. So now, we're going to get to the part where, remember those videos on March 1st and 2nd? He threw Shivani across the room. I had a hard time getting the Millbrook, Alabama police to write a report. They sent out Officer Youngblood when I called the state troopers about it because I was scared. I'm still afraid of the Millbrook Police Department. And this is what they're saying now. This is in the divorce papers. On or about March 1st, 2016, the plaintiff discovered what is believed to be marijuana being cultivated in an adult stepchild's bedroom. Upon discovery, the plaintiff confronted the defendant, who immediately became defensive and informed the same that she would leave the country with the children. Now, leaving the country with the children is what he would tell me he was going to do to me if I ever decided to leave him. After every single beating, after every single abuse, he would tell me this: if you leave me, I will put you in jail. You are going to go to jail, and I am going to sell the girls off to India. They're going to marry some Indian men and become housewives, and I am going to leave Sainath on the streets of India. I'm going to leave Ashton and Mackie here, and hopefully maybe Ernestine, which is my mother, will take them in. So you can go ahead and leave if you want to, but trust and believe you will go to jail. And the children will be taken to India, and you'll never see them again after every beating. He's been able to do it. You guys help me before he finishes it off. Please, I'm begging. But no, I'm going to tell you this. Marijuana was not growing in the home. Yes, they do have pictures of Ashton off of his Facebook in Colorado of him smoking weed. It was never at my house. But there is pictures out there on his Facebook. It is the culture of Colorado kids to do so. Colorado's a legal state. It's not frowned upon, and the young people in Colorado puff clouds and proudly display it. So yes, there is pictures of him smoking marijuana, not at my house, on his Facebook page. But other than that, of growing marijuana in my house and selling marijuana out my house, I don't have none of that. Okay, I'm not having none of that in my house, and it was not happening in my house. But this is the story that they concocted. So now in my divorce proceedings, there are criminal drug charges attached. Just what Officer Knapp had told me would happen to leave the state, because I was going to go to jail and there was going to be no way for me to prove myself innocent of this. Number 7, the defendant has been smoking marijuana in the marital home with her 18-year-old child. False. That there is a history of domestic violence on or about the 7th of October 2011, Denver, Colorado. Okay, yes, there was a charge, and I was charged with domestic violence. He beat the shit fire out my ass and ran across the street to his job. I got dressed and ran across the street after him, and I pulled on him, trying to get him to talk to me. He played the victim and called the police. I was put into a special program for abuse victims who fought back and not deemed as a domestic abuser. But because I did pull back, and what happened to me was not on camera, but what I did to him by pulling on him was on camera. I went to jail. I pled guilty. I had fines to pay. I still got some fines to pay out for that, if I'm honest with you. But I was put into a special program for abuse victims. If they were to do the research, you would find out that the state of Colorado and the courts of Colorado believed that I was being abused and fought back. So I was put in a special class for that. Then they used the disorderly conduct against me. I was a parent, afraid for her children. I don't know anybody in Alabama who's certified to watch my child. Point blank. He wouldn't tell me where they were. I cussed the police officer. Yes, I did. Maybe I shouldn't have. But I went to jail for that. They used that in the divorce against me to prove that I'm an unfit parent. I'm not an unfit parent. I love my babies. The plaintiff averts that now exists, he said, his sin is a complete error in reconcilable difference of temperament. The parties can no longer remain married. So now, at number 10 of this issue, everything was all about criminal drug charges. Okay? And cultivating drugs and stuff like that in my divorce. Now it says about the marriage that we can no longer get along. Taste, goals, and desires and mutual disposition of marriage widely differ. Well, I found out later that he had got his citizenship. He had made me a domestic violence, made him the victim of domestic violence, got his citizenship through what's called vow fraud. Okay, so he no longer needed me. He no longer wanted me. He no longer anything with me. He had paid these police department off against me and had it all sewed up, and has it all sewed up, and nobody's letting me prove my innocence. Let's see. But anyway, it's saying that he has proper care of custody, this, that, and the other. But the main thing about this whole thing is I was given a filing report, and I was never allowed into court. Now, I called Miss Tammy, which is the clerk, every Thursday after receiving this filing report. She told me that there was nothing on docket every single Thursday. Lo and behold, at some point in time, it moved on to court, and I had got the paperwork, the divorce paperwork, from the police of New York, where he went to New York, where he knew where I was at. He went to New York, and he was trying to get the kids from school. New York police stopped it, started safety precautions, started safety court, but he basically set this all up, y'all, and it was set up against me from the get-go. I went to that court because the domestic violence center I was in, the reason why I had to call every Thursday is because when court happened, they were going to send me back to go to court for the divorce. Like I said, I called Tammy every week. She said there was nothing on docket. He came with the divorce papers, and I called Tammy back, and I had the papers in my hand, and I have witnesses of this too. She tells me that there's no divorce on docket. I said, well, there had to be a divorce on docket at some point because I'm holding the divorce papers in my hand. She gets angry and hangs up on me. Lots of stuff with her don't add up too. I'm calling her every week. Um, no divorce on docket. Well, the divorce went through without me being there. Um, Everybody's telling me had I went to that divorce, so maybe it's a blessing in disguise. Had I went to that divorce, I would have been held on criminal marijuana possession charges and criminal charges of marijuana and locked up, just like Officer Knapp said, and there'd be nothing that nobody could do for me. There hasn't been anything anybody could do for me now. So that's that part. I'm going to cut this short, and I am going to go on to what the custody paper said that I got. And then I'm going to show you guys the proof that I was never deemed an unfit parent.